Hello, everybody. Welcome to the August 5th, 2025 community call for the Wellness Enterprise. It's been a exciting summer and the momentum continues. Things are really cruising along. It feels like subtle energy is becoming more of a topic for more and more people, and more of us that are on the path are becoming more aware. I certainly continue to deepen, and I'm so thankful for the refinements and insights and subtleties that continue to emerge. It feels like lessons are a lot gentler than they used to be, and for that, I'm thankful. So, as many of you know, Nico was on the road from June 23rd for about a month and touched a lot of places on the East Coast, had some great experiences, and most of all, got to really talk to a lot of people about what's going on in their lives and subtle energy and how we can change the way we understand the world. And, with all those conversations came more understanding and so Nico's going to share some of that experience. And, for those of you who participated in the road trip already, thank you. And for those of you who are new or who live on the West Coast, there is a West Coast trip happening. It looks to be starting September 9th in Boulder and going Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, um, Phoenix and Sedona, over to San Diego, Los Angeles, and then up potentially all the way as far as the top of Washington. It just depends who shows up to host meetings and attend meetings. So you can share about the Cosmic Tower road trip now. I'll dig up the link in a second when Nico's talking and put it in the chat. And you can share it with people who live in any of those places, and they're welcome to come. And if somebody's interested in hosting or, a center or a center owner or that type of thing, those are all things we're really interested in. But most of all, we're just thankful to come together with you guys again and have the opportunity to feel, experience, and share love. So Nico, I'll pass it over to you and let's see where this conversation goes.
Yeah, thank you, and happy to say that I see some familiar faces on the Zoom. It was nice to meet people in person, and yeah, I do have a black eye. Let's just get that out of the way. Last Thursday night, I like tripped and hit the mantle of like a chimney. So, but I got to apply some of like the quantum stuff that I learned on the road, and yeah, it really made a difference already. And for today's call, I also want to share some things that I learned while on the road. And I know we talk a lot about like subtle energy in this call, and that's what this is about. But I got to really spend time with all kinds of amazing people of all walks of life. But I also was a speaker at a Carrie Bennett's event and Oksana Hansen, Return to Nature. We have that call on YouTube, and I learned a lot of interesting things there, and I want to share some of those with this community. But just before I do that, anybody here already coming from like the quantum wellness space? No? Cool. Well, then, that will be great because for the people that are in that space, a lot of, what I'm gonna share is probably gonna be repeat. Um, but I definitely want to share it with this community because people, always ask me, like, besides the Cosmic Tower, what else can I do? What supplements can I take? And what I want to share are really some things that you can pretty much do for free and that could really boost your health on a physical level. And it really, I mean, if I capture the essence of it, it is about returning to nature and about connecting more with nature, and also by aligning our own energetics and our own personal cycle with nature again. So I just wanted to share some of the things because there were some really interesting speakers and people, had amazing like breakthroughs in their health by doing these things without having to take 100 different supplements and do this, that, and whatever. So and I started doing myself too, and I really, I've been through phases. I fall off the wagon and I'm like back on, but I have to say it makes such a massive difference in my energy level that I'm, full on that schedule now. And I'm flying to Maui tomorrow to, watch Blue, Patter's dog, while he's on the mainland, as the people from Hawaii call it. And so I'm really looking forward to keep doing these practices. So really the most important thing you can do, it's like manage like your light and get your light natural again. So that I don't know, I'm gonna probably butcher some of this. I'm not an expert in this field, but I'm just gonna share a simplified understanding of it for me, which is the fact that our blue light is our our man-made light is so toxic and toxic on many ways, but the biggest, I mean, toxicity in a way, or one of the biggest effects is that when you are sitting a lot in front of screens and you watch a lot of TV or your computer or your phone, especially after the sun sets, you're signaling to your body that it's morning time because morning light contains that blue light. And our screens are so much more powerful to compare to the blue light we get in nature. So the issue is definitely if after sunlight, after the sun goes down, after the natural sunlight is gone, if you're staring at these screens, you're signaling your body it's morning. It's morning. It's morning. And the eyes are what sets your circadian rhythm, what sets your clock. So I highly recommend if you don't have them, get like some blue blockers. And I know Shira's, yeah, she's using the yellow ones. Like it will really like change your life. It's such a simple thing you can do. They have expensive ones. You can probably buy them for 20 bucks, somewhere on Amazon. And so the real thing that I notice with that when you do this, first of all, I'm behind screens a lot too. Some days I just can't help it, but even though I try to minimize it, one of the things you put these on at night, I have no trouble falling to sleep. This is like the best sleep medicine. When these go on, within a half hour, I'm like tired and go to bed without using any melatonin, any supplements, or anything, because that's how the signaling in the body works. And so when I do that, and if I'm able to catch like the sunrise immediately, I click back into my circadian rhythm. So tomorrow, I'm flying to Maui, so flying west is not that big a deal. But if I go to Europe or something, when I'm on the airplane, what I do is I sync to the clock of like the place that I'm going. So the moment it becomes nighttime there, I put these on, and then if I fall asleep on the plane, I let myself sleep. And then what I'd like to do is catch like the first sunrise and get myself up and go there. And it's amazing like how little jet lag that you experience just by managing your light. That's just a tip that I can give you. But ideally, you want to get up with the sun. I mean, think about our ancestors. That's how we lived. We didn't have all this artificial lighting, right? We'd wake up with the sun, work outside all day or do whatever. And then the nighttime, there was maybe a candle or an oil lamp, and that was it. I mean, very low strength of light and also a very different color, no blue light. Right. So this is one of the most powerful things you can do because this sets your clock, which then sets your hormonal cycle. So if you're constantly signaling your body, the wrong way, that it's the wrong time of day, your hormones get all screwed up. And if your hormones screwed up, it's like a cascade, right? Everything in your body, I mean, it starts taking its toll. So watch the sunrise. Even if you can just do it for 5 minutes in the morning, no glasses, not through the window, go outside, go barefooted if you can. Expose as much of your skin as you can too, because here's the other thing, like I barely ever wear sunscreen. Like I don't wear sunscreen. And um but I've noticed if I get the early sunlight and I especially have a lot of exposure of that on my skin, that actually creates your internal sunscreen for later in the day. And then what people do if they go out in the sun, they wear sunglasses. So now again, they're signaling their body, hey, it's nighttime. Stop producing melanin, start producing melatonin. And, you get sunburned faster. I mean, there's some extreme examples
Incredible.
when, when, uh, when I'm out like on the water and there's a reflection or stuff, I might wear some sunglasses, right? I mean, use your common sense, or if you're out skiing or whatever. But for the most part, I try to avoid that. So get that morning sunlight, and then also you're prepared for later in the day, and then you start producing vitamin D. It's way better to have the sun, to get your vitamin D in a normal way than it is by taking supplements. Right, so that's the first thing. If I could tell people do one thing, it would be start managing like the artificial light. Like it's amazing the boost you get in energy and just for overall for your health. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to eat within like 30 minutes to an hour after, waking up and having seen the sunrise and because that's like the second signal. And if you do that, you'd be surprised how easy it is to set your clock and just come back in that natural cycle. And when we align with nature, we're all nature. We're all part of nature. Nature runs this show. You're not sitting here and going beat, beat, beat to make your heart beat, right? All of that runs automatically in the background. But if we give it the wrong signals with artificial devices and artificial light, right? Don't be surprised that things are not working um, as as good as they could be. So get that natural sunlight. I'd
Yeah.
say that's really like the main thing that if you could do anything, do do that right. Um, And then just, as far as foods and what to eat, you know, like there's so many different things. I mean, you can go study with Carrie Bennett and Sarah Kleiner and so many other people in that space, but I really recommend it for people because it's simple things you can do that do not like include supplements. What I like to do, I like to take the methylene blue with it too, which optimizes your mitochondria and your energy production. And I like to take it about 45 minutes before I go out in the sun. It really helps with getting your energy back. And I guarantee you, if you do this, like I feel it instantaneously. It's like a matter of days for me. You do it like a few weeks, you know. Um, yeah, I don't see anybody, going back from that, right? So manage that light. That's one of the things that I learned, and I also start with, like, the cold exposure and, like, the cold plunges because the inventor, Oksana, the one that hosted the retreat together with Carrie, her and her husband, they've been doing that with their family, for quite some time now, and so I started doing that myself, and yeah, it really works. So it's things for you to look into that I rather recommend than take this supplement or do this. These are things we can all do pretty easily for ourselves. So it's all about being in nature and spending time in nature and getting back on on that natural cycle. So I also wanted to say we are, of course, here for Cosmic Tower Q&A. So I know Patter uh, didn't mention specifically, but feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them. So the other cool thing,
Oh,
yeah,
did you learn anything about the different shades of the glasses?
yeah. I mean, typically you have like yellow, orange, and red. Right, yellow is good for, and I'm no expert at this, right? But from what I understand during the day, when you're working with your computer and stuff, to filter some of the blue light out. I know the yellows really help me for eye strain. If I have days where I'm sitting a lot by the computer and inside, having the yellow glasses on, really, I feel a noticeable difference in fatigue in my eyes. Then personally, I switched to the orange ones. That's like my go to sleep because I know I'm going to be out a half hour after I put them on, right? But I'd say the orange ones after sunset, and then the red ones. I use the orange or the red ones when I get up in the morning because you'd really ideally like, if you're in an environment where you have little artificial light in your house, you're probably fine walking outside. But in a lot of places, like, it drives me crazy to see these things, like alarm clocks and stuff that are meant to be like in a bedroom and that give off blue light. Blue light is like the last thing you want in like a bedroom. So in the morning, I use those to just go outside, and then take them off when I get outside, and then just let the natural light be the first thing that hits the eyes.
Great, thanks for that. We got a question about the Cosmic Tower here, and
Yeah.
also a request for product names and putting that in the chat, please.
Mhm.
Uh, and if you have a small Cosmic Tower in a tough environment without bigger tower support, can it get damaged? Does it have a soul? Can that leave?
No, I mean, the only time when we have seen a soul leave, it's when it gets opened up or it gets physically, you know, like broken. And I don't know with a small tower if the person means like a mini or like at least a 35. Um, so from my experience, what happens is when the towers like just can't handle the environment, their bubble is going to be really small and they're kind of gonna hold what they can. Imagine like all the distortion and all those energy and Wi-Fi and 5G as an energy pushing inwards, with this distortion and the cosmic tower more, creating an outward bubble. And then it finds an equilibrium based on how much distortion is in the environment and then how big the tower is. That's also why we recommend not having just a mini. You want a powerful enough bubble at your home, and yeah, then use the mini for when you travel. But it's not like it's gonna damage like the tower to where it would stop working. Yeah.
Sounds good. Ruth is wondering about connecting with other Cosmic Tower owners in the UK. Um, So Ruth, maybe you can message me privately about where you are and what you're looking for there, like-minded community members, or are you looking to experience the tower, that kind of thing, so I can understand. And then um, we don't have access to all the records from G Balance from when Harold was selling towers, so we don't have that whole database. And the UK, there are a few towers that have gone there since we've been stewarding over there, but not a ton. But there has been some recent, like really strong interest from there. I think we're going to have a distributor there, which is exciting. So, yeah, feel free to message me more either privately in this or support at thewellnessenterprise.com. Instead of sending the message to everyone, you just direct it to me. Um, B said, I think I heard someone say that the Cosmic Tower stopped working as it was before. How would we explain that then?
Yeah, there's rare cases, right, where something happened, right? And when there are those doubts, we always ask people, send us a picture and we can send it to Germany and then get reactivated. But that's been really rare from our experience. Right. So when
Okay.
in doubt, like ask.
Yeah, feel free to send in a photo of your tower and we'll be happy to look at it. Um, how does the reactivation work? Do you have some special person doing that?
Yes, that's correct. So we have the person in Germany that originally, collaborated with Harald to create the towers, you know, to improve upon the design with his son. And we're in direct contact with him, and then he has a person, you know, that does the activations.
Cool, sure. Thanks for patiently waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Go ahead.
Since I have to leave in 5 minutes, I do have a couple of comments. Dr. Brian, artist of the Ages group, has pointed out that methylene blue, which I used to take, is a lab-created chemical. And so he suggests going to the plant from which it's extracted. It's called andrographis. And so that's
Yes.
what I'm taking now. The
I,
other comment has to do with vitamin D from the sun. Is many people think they're out and they're exposed and so forth, and they're getting it. But it's wise to check the latitude, because above a certain latitude, like here in Washington State, we never get vitamin D from the sun. So if you find out that you're above that certain latitude, you simply need to supplement. Thank you.
yeah, that's why if you go really high up, like the Scandinavians, right, they eat more fish in their diet and fish oils, right, because to compensate for that. So thank you. That's a good point. I didn't know methylene blue was based on andrographis. I love andrographis. When I ever have something, you know, on like the airways in my lungs, and sometimes there's this last thing you can't get rid of, like andrographis, uh, yeah, it really works. And I know the methylene blue is like lab made. I test all kinds of things. There's interesting research um on it, but everybody has to make their own decision and what works for them. I one of the people, Mike Belkowski, is the CEO of BioLite, who was talking at Return to Nature. He talked, and I don't know the name of the doctor, but a particular doctor that was treating UTIs with methylene blue IV, and then they would just do one like session with red light on it, and it would just like fix, like get rid of like the that was pretty amazing. I'd never heard of that.
Awesome. B's back again. Nico with another question. How can someone from a picture from far away reactivate a tower? That's fascinating.
Yeah, and this is like, I know there's a lot of healers in the room here, people that know Reiki. It's like we are all connected beyond time and space. Right. I mean, it's our left brain, it's our really small self that's in this like linear illusion gets created by the left brain. But if you look at 98% of our world is basically in the subtle planes, what we can't see beyond time of space, right? Think about the speed of thought. And they've actually scientifically proven this. I know I've brought this up on this call, that where they hooked two people up um, through like a brain scanner to the same computer, and they put them like 180 miles apart. The moment they showed a picture of one person to the other, you know, there was the same response in both people's brains, and it was instantaneous, right? So that goes to show you speed of thought is just not like a figure of speech, but we are all connected in that way. And I mean, you can look into remote viewing, which the government even used and had protocols for, to where you can basically like put your awareness and experience anything within space-time, within our known universe, right? I mean, this is absolutely not an issue. Like it is an issue to the linear mind, to the logical mind that's completely bought into space and time. But there is another part, and actually, arguably, the biggest part of us lives outside of that. So, absolutely. And I know the people that are healers on the call here, you can do remote healings on people, you know, without there being in a room. You can actually even send healings to yourself in the future, to yourself in the past. It's way beyond, you know, I've done it and I've experienced it. And yeah, those things baffle the left brain, but they're absolutely part of our reality.
Nice. Nico, while I'm talking, maybe you could
I
hop
was
in.
actually, it's kind of interesting because I was just on Alex Zek's podcast. I was in Georgetown on the Way Forward podcast with him. We were recording in his studio in Georgetown, and yeah, one of his mentors learned it teaches kids how to see without their eyes. So when they're blindfolded, how to see. And yeah, she teaches it successfully. And his youngest son, that's like 4 years old or something, can now see with blindfolded, like with his eyes. Right. I mean, there's also the Bronikoff method you can look up. It's a protocol to learn to do those things. After, people need to understand this is not supernatural. It's actually our natural state. That's like underneath all of this. We're all capable of doing this. We're all capable, I'm not even say developing it, I would say rediscovering, remembering it. And this is where we're heading.
Nico, while I'm speaking here for a second, maybe you can go to the chat and just check
I am.
the spelling on the methylene blue plant. And you guys, as I'm on the road right now, I'm meeting a lot more people, and I spent the time last week in the hot springs with like 20 people consistently, and the number of people that are having out of body experiences or versions of telepathy is just it's through the roof. And if you listen to them, they're just very specific about their accounts and sharing their experience, and don't really offer a lot of judgment or anything about it. I just listen, and I keep hearing it more and more. If you're really fascinated by the topic, there's a podcast called the Telepathy Tapes, which is a really intriguing look at this. And it's about the autistic kids who can read their parents' minds. And since most of them are unable to speak, um, being able to read the parent's mind and write things out and do this kind of stuff, it's really exciting. So the telepathy tapes is definitely something I would consider looking at if you're interested in this topic.
Yeah, and you see it on the road too. Like this has become way more common to even talk about these things. I mean, when I was talking about this stuff 10, 15 years ago, people will look at me like I'm freaking crazy. Well, now, people are much more open and talking about it. And it's awesome because that's what we're heading. And do not mistaken, like those children coming in, they are the new teachers. They come, with that connection, and they're going to show us a lot of things, and we're just here to create the space to help hold the energy for them to unfold. And this is going to keep accelerating. I don't know if most of you are familiar with the precession of the equinox, kind of how the right or solar system goes relative to the center of the galaxy. I mean, for the next 1,000 years or so, we're going to go through a cycle of continuous the energy is just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Right? That's why it's so important that we do our emotional release, we let go of our limiting beliefs, because as the temperature gets dialed up, more of the impurities come to the surface. And it's really not, you don't have to become anybody else, it's just releasing all this stuff we've taken on from a young age that is not us, and letting all that go. It's already there. So that will become way more common, and people all over are going to have these experiences. And I'm telling you, that's how the world is going to change. All these people having their awakenings and experiences and sharing it with others. I mean, you ever heard of the 100 monkey effect? Right, where they had these monkeys somewhere out in Southeast Asia on one island, and they would give them sweet potatoes with sand on them, and they didn't like them because they didn't eat them with the sand. So they showed one monkey, how to wash like the sweet potato and then eat it. And then it not only showed that monkey then didn't show not only all the other monkeys on the island how to do this, but after a certain critical mass was reached, all of a sudden, like monkeys on other islands knew too. The same goes on, it's just because there's a collective consciousness. So the more of you, the more of all of us that tap into this, right? Even if we don't share it verbally, it is shared energetically, and more of us getting access to this, and this is only going to accelerate.
So, Nika, going deeper into this topic, like how can people use the cosmic towers to help deepen these skills?
Yeah, and it helps, you know, in a way. And we get people writing us all the time about this, and some of them I'm in a lot of contact with, like Philippe. He's a journalist. He's out in Lebanon, and he has had amazing experiences like this that developed after he got his tower. So what I always tell people is that you already like know how to do this. It's just the cosmic tower creates an environment that is just going to be a lot less noise, a lot less distortions for you to work through, make it easier to go deeper, quicker. You know, I'm not going to say the tower is going to do it for you. Just consider that it's helping you, it's supporting you, it's holding you, it's holding an environment for you to uncover what's already within yourself. So yeah, absolutely. It helps with that of like creating a more energetically quiet environment, but then B also because naturally, because of the energy it creates, it stimulates your being to release old emotional blockages or even mental blockages. Every time you do that, you come closer to your natural state. Right. So I'm saying it's 80% of process of letting go of all the stuff versus trying to learn something new. The more we let go of this, and the more even we, like Tio will talk about detoxing the physical body, the more we detox all of our bodies, physical, energetic, emotional, um, mental, and our connection to the spiritual of what doesn't belong there, what's already there just becomes much brighter and much clearer.
I think there's also something to be said for the towers create a harmonic environment so you feel more naturally like yourself. And if we think about you not having that environment and you've got these discordant waves coming through and you're feeling more anxious and more discord more easily, the difference between the two, like on any given day, I might not have profound insights about how I'm deepening these kind of skills. But then after spending month after month in the environment of the towers, and then I leave and go out in the world and I start getting reflections of how my perceptions are, as a small little example, just like being tied into things, my trip from Portland to Boston was a little bit painful. It was like one of those days where just nothing goes right. And when we were sitting on the plane and we pushed back on the tarmac and then we sat for an hour and then we moved again. And I was like, I knew we weren't going to take off until I meditated. I just knew it. And we were out sitting again. And I didn't like set an intention or do anything. I just decided and I folded up my glasses and put my phone down and started meditating. And literally within 30 seconds, the engines revved up and we took off. And so I start to get these reflections. I also like feel these a lot of loving reflections going through an airport. Like as I was getting off one plane, the woman put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Gosh, it was so nice to meet you." And then I'm walking through the terminal and somebody says, "Have I met you before?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And we had like this loving exchange. And so, you don't notice it, like it's not like a brick dropping into your room. It's more of a subtle thing. And the more experiences you have being in the harmonic space, then I think the whole of your perception becomes more harmonic. That's what I would add to it. Cool. You guys are doing great feeding the questions. Do you guys have more? You're welcome always to raise your hands as well if you feel like using your voice. Nico, you didn't get to go through. I don't know if you got any other ideas that you wanted to share from the trip in terms of quantum tools and whatnot, but I love the suggestions about light. That was really great.
Well, yeah, it's you know, it's about coming back to nature. That's what this whole period is about. Believe it or not, nature's taken over again, nature's order. And I've always said this, like, you know, nature will be here, whether we're gonna be here, that's a different case. We're gonna have to, you know, start behaving differently and really connect with things again. I mean, one great thing about the quantum wellness space, I mean, there's so much great information there, but they're very intellectual, right? And but I also see that changing now, that there's this recognition of the subtle energy being important. I'll be teaching at Carrie Bennett's community like next week on Friday. So there's really like also an understanding that, you know, what most of you are more attuned to, which is being the energetic, the subtle energies, also is starting to get acknowledged that that's a key piece in the quantum wellness world. So yeah.
That's great. Karen, I'll be right to you. Nico, we'll start a little bit of answering this question because this one could go on for a while. What are your favorite stories that people had with the cosmic towers? I'm going to start that off, and then I'm going to ask Karen, and then we can share some more. So I'm going to start one off because in Massachusetts, where I am, the person who's been stewarding the large tower is going through a divorce, and so it became time to move the tower. And I went and did that yesterday. And I'm staying in the home right now of people I've known since 2007. And so we've been through a lot together. Like we still laugh about who I was when I showed up in this home for the first time and how much I've learned here and how much of life has just deepened and become sweeter. So I know these people really well. And the day before we picked up the tower, the woman who lives in this house said she could feel the consciousness of the larger tower like knocking on her door. Like she could feel this like pressure coming to her. And so she was like sitting and meditating and receiving the tower and making space for it. And then, we brought it in and set it up and put some plants around it and stuff. And the couple that live here, they're just on the chair and on the couch, they're just like nestled toward it, like many, many hours of a day, more than they normally would be. And it just feels so great. So to take somebody who I've known for 18 years, who I've never thought of as being particularly energy sensitive, and to have her opening in this way and then having this experience, for me, that's really joyful. I mean, these are really, really dear friends, and I think that makes a big difference. So I'm very thankful to be around those type of experiences. And we'll open it up. Anybody that's on the call, Zane always shares with questions like this, sharing favorite stories with towers. So, we'll come back to this one in a second, but I just thought I'd get the answer started. And Karen, let's turn it over to you now.
My towers are supposed to come in today. I'm very excited. But from the moment that I sent the email says, yes, I want to buy these, so many things have broken down. My telephone broke in that moment. There were so many things that went wrong. And I was still like, I still want this. I still want this. I was just like on course. But then I look back and, there's been good things too, but lots of things have happened like to impact my life in a negative way when I committed. So I just was wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
I'm sure Nico's going to say a bunch, but for me, Karen, for me, it was the end of a girlfriend. So, it's like that relationship wasn't supposed to endure, and it was at its teetering point of nearing its end, and the towers were a profound catalyst in ending that relationship. And it's interesting to hear you call the experiences negative, because I bet when we get a little bit further down the road and we get to reflect back, you'll start to see how the things that changed were actually for your benefit. And so things that are unstable and not really grounded tend to crumble. And that can be a really, really deep blessing.
Yeah, it was the phone was scammed. I was scammed. So I'm getting a new phone. I had 2 weeks of work, but I'm getting a new phone tomorrow. So
Yeah, also, I don't know how many of you know about astrology or into astrology, but we're in Mercury retrograde right now. and it's like in Leo. But believe it or not, like I used to trust me, I used to laugh at this, like, yeah, Mercury retrograde or whatever. But then I go look at like things happening, and then I think it's in Leo. And I'm no astrologer. If anybody is an astrologer, please correct me if I'm saying anything that's not right here. But since it's in Leo and a fire sign, that has to do with like electrical things, also. So things, Brian, breaking down. My girlfriend's phone just like broke. I mean, it's not always that there's direct, correlation between the tower and then, something might break. Like this is like negative in the moment, right? As we perceive it, does not have like the total picture of things. Right, it's kind of like the butterfly effect, or sometimes, something breaks, but if it kept running, it could have caused a fire while you were out of the house. There's so many things that can happen, right? But yeah, definitely. And if you do bring an energy in like the tower, it's it's more than that for more people. It's also committing to a certain path of your own development, of your own discovery. And let me tell you, like, having gone through that myself, that's not all pleasant, and that's not all fun, right? So those things do happen. I think some of them is definitely astrologically where we're at right now, right? Then there's always like, okay, negative right now, but what's the big picture? We can't see that, because I know for a fact that there's been a lot of people, that had difficult experiences too with what they went through with the tower, things that were getting stirred up, they could no longer push away, or suppress, which is a good thing, because I deal with a lot of people. What happens when we are successfully suppressing those things for too long? We'll drive them into the physical, and you know, they become other things. So yeah, I'll just say keep an open mind, Karen, and I know you will. And thanks again for having me too at your place, and it's wonderful
That
to
was so
meet
much
you and
fun.
Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So I have another question, which is I got two personal units, and I don't have an electric car. I know you said to put the 35 in an electric car, but but is it a good thing to just drive around with my personal unit everywhere with me, everywhere I go? Like to
With
work, locally here.
with a 35, you mean?
No, no, not 35, the personal, the mini.
Many.
Oh, the mini? Yeah, that's what it's for. Yeah.
But I mean, I was thinking about because I have the 75 and the 35. I was thinking about taking the 35 with me too. Like you said, oh, put it in a bag and hang it on the back of your driver's
Oh,
seat
you
of
mean
an
you have an
electric car.
electrical car?
Yeah.
I personally, I would take my 35 in that. Like, I have a hard time being around electrical cars. Like, I mean, they're powerful fields,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
I think
Um,
it's a personal preference issue. You have
Okay.
choices, and it's like, I went to record a radio interview yesterday, and the woman that was interviewing me interviewed Nico when he was here, and she's like, "Can you bring the Cosmic Tower?" And like we love having the tower in the studio. I was like, of course. And so I took my 35, which I brought from Maui. So I could have brought a mini from Maui, but I brought a 35, and that feels right. So some instances you go out of the home and you're going somewhere, maybe you want to take it, maybe on behalf of yourself and others.
Mm,
And then, there might be both lenses, like what do I, Karen, need? And just take your mini sometimes. Maybe sometimes you need the 35. You'll learn, and you have
okay.
the option.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Patter. I'm very excited still. Can you feel that?
yeah.
Yes, totally. And
Thank you.
the stuff you're going through is normal, Karen. And
Mm.
your buying process, it wasn't one of those intuitive ones like, I see the tower, I buy it, and it shows up. Like you went through like a journey on it. And so that your journey's got this steps, I think it sounds perfect. Like, it sounds like a vibrational match. And
Yeah.
We'll be happy to stay in the dialogue with you, and everything's going to be fine.
I'm still working on my husband for the 220.
That's great. Well, probably get through these little bumps in the road, and then maybe he'll see things a little differently. So that's
Thank
exciting.
you.
Yeah, you bet. We still have the open question about stories. So everybody that raises their hand, you're welcome to share a story. Nico, you're ready to raise a story. And let me knock this small question out right now. Other than putting a cosmic tower in a large suitcase, what are your concerns if you're traveling with a 75 or any cosmic tower? So you can put a 75, a 35, or a mini into a suitcase. You can take a mini through security and take it on the plane with you, like in your hand. And the concerns that I have are just packing it real well. So I have saved our boxes and our bubble wrap they're really good. And so I have saved a box, and I just reboxed my 35 and put it in my suitcase when I went to travel. And I feel completely confident about that. Nico, anything you want to add on that?
No, that's the main that's the main thing with a 75. Like, yeah, I mean, use a hard shell suitcase because, like, the way
Thank
they
you.
treat luggage at like the airports, I mean, there's two things you really have to watch out for, and one is a direct impact, right? So you would want a hard shell, and then just the fact that they throw stuff around them, whatever. So you want enough padding in it so it doesn't have to absorb the entire shock, right? So I mostly travel with my 35 and a big suitcase. It goes in a backpack, or I have this like hard shell case even for it now for a DSLR camera, and that goes in the middle, and all my clothing is packed around it. So there's a lot of buffering for any shocks, and I've never had an issue. I've traveled with the 75 to Egypt, and for that I had a special case for like light and camera equipment that's a hard shell and padding, and did it that way, and that worked fine. Hey Ed, I do want to answer your question because I see Patter might have missed that one. So as a mini sun, does a CT supply the missing qualities of synthetic light? That's a great question. I mean, I don't think like the physical qualities and like the visible spectrum, but everything is in octaves, right? So I definitely think that it harmonizes and definitely provides it on the higher octaves, which definitely affects the physical. But I don't know for sure, to be honest with you. I know one time somebody asked Harold, like, because it is like a sun, could I put my plant in a closet like with a cosmic tower and grow it that way? Yeah. I don't know for sure, to be honest with you, but it definitely, it harmonizes the energy, and the higher octaves are there. I don't know about the actual physical light, but again, I mean, use common sense, right? Get as much of the natural light as possible, and in your house, if you can afford it, get light bulbs that are close to the natural spectrum. Hey Zane, sorry. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Okay. My connection's a little dicey. I'll try my best. Can you hear me okay? Okay,
Yes.
good. I just, my concern, I'll be traveling the last 2 weeks in August to visit the East Coast, and I'm used to taking my Cosmic Tower 7 Grace, my 75, along with me when I drive, but this time I'm taking the airplane, and I think I want to order a second one for travel. I feel different if I would travel without it. I'm so used to having it with me. So I'll probably be ordering one, the 35, and I hope to travel with that. I think I'm going to do the knapsack in the back and a carry-on, just to be sure. And that's something they do allow.
No, not a
So
not a third. No, Zane, not a 35 for a carry-on. You got to check it.
35 is too much water. It's only the mini, Zane.
oh, okay.
The mini
Okay.
has, yeah, not enough water to where TSA makes a problem about it. 35 does.
Okay. Thanks for clarification on that.
You're welcome.
Nico, we had another question backed up in the chat too. So, Ruth said she loves the idea of sending healing to my future self. Could you tell us more about
Yeah.
how to go about that?
Yeah, I mean, they teach it in different systems, right? I don't know which system you're trained in, or that you're exploring, but I would say of like any healing system, I would say sending healings to the past and sending healings to the future is a thing because, you know, we can access any time, right? You can time travel right now in your mind to 10 years ago, right? And know that where you put your awareness, where your focus goes, you create a resonance with. So you start exchanging energy and information, even if that's in the past. And then I know the future sounds crazy to the left brain, but same thing there. But I do have on our Lavanya playlist, I would have to figure out which one it is. I did do a process actually to where you would go back to a moment in time where you were really happy as a kid, and then actually you as your older self working with your younger version and informing it of everything your younger version needs to know, to have the best life ever, and then really move that forward in the timeline. It's really powerful. I mean, we do it all the time in hypnosis, and with, I mean, think about what you do with regression. You go back to where some trauma originated in the timeline, and then you go rewrite that, and then you move that forward all the way to now and into the future. So yeah, it's somewhere on the playlist there. I'll see if I can find it for you if I have an easy way to, and I can share it with you. It's like a guided, it's a group process. I know Marcia was there. That's easy bet.
Marcia's always there. Um, all right, B's back. Would it make sense to have a cosmic tower inside a yurt or something sacred geometry like a pyramid form around it?
So like you can do that. Now, like a yurt or any natural structure, right, is always gonna have uh, better energy. Pyramid, you have to know a little bit more of what you're doing, right, to make sure that it's just all beneficial energy. This is why I don't want to go on all the details, but if you look at the Great Pyramid, it's not four-sided. There's an indentation in the middle to where there's 8 sides, right? And that is to offset some detrimental energy effects that you create when you just make a four-sided pyramid, vertical negative green, called in biogeometry. So if you really know what you're doing with pyramids and the materials to use and whatever, you absolutely could experiment with it. And I think natural structures are always better, like our modern architecture and living in these boxes and the geometries of that. It's not good for our life force.
And then, hey, we're closing in on an hour and we love your questions. We'll stay past an hour if there are more, but this is your moment. If you have another question for the chat or want to raise your hand, jump in. And Nico, how about a favorite story, favorite Cosmic Tower story? And anybody else that wants to share, you're welcome to share stories too.
Gosh, to even find okay, I'll give you a favorite because there's so many, right? And it's nice to hear from all the people and like, oh yeah, I've had a tower and this happened, and I'm like, ah, I never knew about this. This is so awesome. But so I was at Return to Nature, and I had the towers there at like the vendor booth, and we were raffling. a CT35 to give the raffle to the audience. And somebody walks up and says, I definitely gonna get one, but I'm hopeful I might win the raffle. And I was like, you know what? You know, there's a consciousness with the towers, like, you know, connect with it in whatever way you connect with a different consciousness, set your intention and see if it wants to come home with you. And I have to say, full disclosure, there were about 2 more people you know, that had said like something similar, but I was, you know, I had time, I wasn't overrun by a bunch of people, so I had time. I said, like, you know, take your time, be with it, invite one in, do it in whatever way works for you. And she stood there for about 10 minutes, and I'll be damned, like after my speech, and there was like 90 people in the room, she got picked out of like a completely random, like it was her name. I was like, it blew me away. Right? You can write everything off to coincidence, but those types of things in my world, no, they're not a coincidence. Even from a statistical point of view, that'll make your mind
Yeah,
spin.
I would share another favorite theme, which is the number of people who have made a choice to purchase a tower and then had profound communication and connection with it before it arrived has been really mind altering for me. I remember when we had the first container coming in um, from Germany, and it was like at sea. And I remember Roger up in Washington was like getting awakened at 3 or 4 a.m. and having dialogue with his tower. And I was like, it was the first one of those for me. And so I was like, okay, like we'll just take in the information. But it's been repetitive that many people have that as soon as they make the decision, like I own a tower, they're like, whoop, they're connected. And you know that dialogue like starts with people and that it's so personal, since that's not really my general way of experiencing life. When I hear it repeatedly through others, like that's a favorite for me, and it really kind of blows me away. So I love hearing those stories.
Yeah, another one that's crazy was like when I met with Jill Jardine for a radio show. And so I meet with her in Boston, and she brings her 35 with it, and she sets it on the table. And I look at the wood, I was like, wow, I've never seen it like that. It's like it had tiger stripes on it. Almost like it's beautiful, but it was like so. I'm like, I've seen so many towers. I've never seen that. Like the tiger stripes. She's like, it gets way crazier, she said. So you know, my little tiger passed away, her like cat, right? And then, but she kind of, you know, Jill's pretty psychic too. She does, you know, psychic readings. She's a amazing astrologer, Vedic astrologer, right? And she's like, but he's coming back to me, she said. And then I get my cosmic tower and I unpack it, and there are like all the stripes. And then I'm probably not doing the whole story justice, or it might not be 100% accurate, but then she told me basically that she had just, you know, the tower basically, you know, she started communicating with and started making all these shifts and changes. And then right before I was there, she had actually found what she believed was, you know, the reincarnation of her tiger, of her cat, like in Texas, and she was just going through the adoption process.
Well, the
Of
cat the cat arrived this weekend while I'm
Oh,
here.
okay, okay.
I saw a photo of the cat this morning, and the cat and the tower like had this like tremendous harmonic. And you guys, there's no other tower like that. Like there, nobody else has like cat stripes on their tower. It's really funny. Charles was raising his hand. Thank you, Charles. Jump in.
Yeah, so we bought a 35, Teresa and I brought it to our home, had it for a few days here. Wonderful experience. And we were going to take it and put it in our office. And so I packed it up in the nighttime and I laid it down in the bag that it was in. And Teresa and I went to sleep. And in the nighttime, I was awakened and I knew that the tower was laying down and that's what woke me up. But I was just too lazy to get up to do anything about it. And I went back to sleep, didn't say anything to Teresa. Later in the night, She woke up, got out of bed, and she didn't know that the tower was lying down. And when she was awake and she knew that the tower was lying down, and she goes back out into the living room and sets the shipping bag up right with it, and then comes back to bed. And we compared the stories the next morning. And that's just one of many stories that I can recall. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. We're very happy. We'll get another, and yeah, just really pleased with the work that y'all are doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles. I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you, Charles. And I will connect with you once I'm in Maui and a bit more stationary. I know you texted me.
Yeah, for anybody that's backed up on communication with Nico this week, Nico's traveling to Maui tomorrow. He traveled yesterday, and things have been a little bit just disjointed. We've both been on the road and out of connection, so we're catching up. We'll get to everybody and everything. Charles, did you have something else?
Yeah, I just want to drop one more, which was part of the communication with Nico, is that I believe that a community is really important. And for those that we could connect within our region, within our area, that have other towers, and then have relationship with them, with our towers all together at one time. And so we start to have that linkage, something like you would find in the Apichettas and the stone altars and the Andes and so forth and so on. That I believe that that's really what wants to happen as far as taking this community to the next level, is to somehow make available the others' names that want to in the area, so we can begin to come together like that.
Yeah, and you're lucky, Charles, since you're close to Asheville, and I know there's some, that's underway in the Asheville area.
Yeah, I had talked with them about this idea when I was there, and met you that, and they like the idea, so I'm glad they're going forward with that.
Yep, I'll be down in Asheville for a couple of weeks starting on the 15th, and we'll be having dialogues about that, and really cultivating Asheville as a strong place for Cosmic Tower connection.
15th of August.
And 10 days
Are,
I'll be there.
are you doing anything publicly or just meeting privately with them?
Probably just privately, but
Oh,
you know,
okay.
it all tends to spill over, so we could keep in touch and see.
Well,
'Cause
let us know if you want to get together then in that regards. Okay.
yeah, thank you, Charles. That's great.
Thank you.
Nico, is there a case that the tower breaks connection like 5G from functioning? If so, can the tower be asked to just let the tech work but protect the people?
No, but by its very nature, the tech continues to work but gets harmonized. It's very similar to Dr. Karim's work in Hamburg, Switzerland, right? When he got called in, and when they put the antennas in the church tower, and everybody started to get sick, right? They asked him, "What's the easiest thing we can do?" He's like, "Take those antennas out of that church." No, we don't want to do that, right? So that's the whole principle of harmonization. Being we talk quite a bit of um, um, on this call about that. So the quality is changed of the energy, and that way your devices keep functioning, because there's also a lot of benefits, like we're sitting here today, but the detrimental quality is changed and is harmonized.
Beautiful. Caden, thanks for popping in. Nico's going to be on Maui tomorrow night, so maybe on Thursday or Friday you guys can connect and talk about what's going to happen there while you guys are both there.
So yes, B, that can be measured, and I think, as first curious as you are, watch the Cosmic Tower like science series that I did, because I do talk about these concepts in there, and also what you need in order to measure that, right? Because an EMF meter really doesn't tell you anything. It tells you strength of the field. It doesn't tell you whether the field heals you or kills you, right? It just gives you quantity. You know?
Awesome.
Yes, Karen.
Karen.
Just a quick question. Do I need to sign for the Cosmic Towers? I need to be here to receive them. They're just going to be delivered so I can leave. Do I need to leave a note that it's okay to leave the cosmic towers here?
Oh, we don't send them signature required.
Okay. So, all right. So I can depart. Sorry for the interruption, and I'll leave again because I need to get going.
Oh,
I
okay,
gotta
somewhere
get
thank
going
you.
too. I gotta pack.
All right.
Laundry and pack.
All right, last question. Anybody? Last comment or question, or last story sharing about Cosmic Tower? Favorite story. Rather hear your guys' voices than mine. Anybody?
So yes, Pete, that's okay. You can leave it in an empty home. Somebody's traveling for multiple months. It will actually help your home because homes that don't have people in them, life force, they degrade a lot faster.
All right, well, I'll close this up with the last favorite story, which was there's somebody who was on this call earlier. She's not here now, but they got a new car and they were going on a road trip to Florida. And when she got in the car to go on the road trip to Florida, she's like, I can't sit in this car like this. And she's like, oh, I forgot my tower. And she went inside and got her tower and took her tower to Florida and went through all the experiences of all that wiring in a new car and the whole experience in Florida. And she had a great vacation. And, for me, that's the type of life-changing benefit that keeps me really interested in what we're doing, is that somebody's life got better because they had a cosmic tower. So I love.
What size tower did she take in the car?
Uh,
35.
yeah, she took a 35. Yeah.
On my way out the door, real quick question. If I take the mini with me when I go to another person's house, can she be in her case and still be totally present and effective?
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Just
Thanks a gazillion.
just set it
Bye.
up vertically, right? Don't
Yeah.
have it horizontally, always vertical. Absolutely.
Thanks for that. Bye-bye.
Right.
Okay, you guys. Caden, did you have anything else? You good?
No, I just wanted to pop on. I meant to get on an hour ago, but I was dealing with something else. So, but happy to be here and meet some of you, and look forward to seeing Nico.
Yeah. Caden's the one who has the beautiful blue bottles. Blue Bottle Love, if anybody's looking for a beautiful water bottle. She's on Maui and she's gonna connect with Nico about a little Cosmic Tower presentation while she's there. So thank you for that, guys, both of you. Thank you everybody for showing up here today. Nico, thanks for keeping your schedule organized to have some time with us. And yeah, we'll see you all next month. And we continue to be here for your emails and your calls in between. And thank you guys so much for being our community. We really adore you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Aloha.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Good.
All right, bye for now.
Bye-bye.